Angela Hart. Welcome to the Heart of New York show. We have a group here from Ohel organization, and Ohel organization helps seniors with depression, and they have many other interesting services that I saw on their website. So I'm going to allow our guests to first introduce themselves and tell you about the organization, and then we're going to take it from there. So Miss Harriet, please speak to the viewers and let them know who you are.
Thank you very much, Angela. And I want to start. My name is Harriet Bloomberg Blank, and I've been working in social work more years than I want to admit, but I've really been working since 1982 when I graduated. And my first job was here in Staten Island at Doctors Hospital of Staten Island. And from there, I continued on what we call the entire healthcare continuum, working in nursing homes, long-term care, home care, and social service agencies. And right now, I work for Ohel Children's Home and Family Services, and I'd like to talk a little bit more later about our program, our organization. But for now, right now, I'm the Director of Geriatrics at Ohel, and we have many wonderful services, such as this initiative for depression, seeing people in their homes and providing free counseling in Staten Island, Brooklyn, and Queens, as well as colleagues who do this in the Bronx and Manhattan. Want to make sure you know that it's in all 5 boroughs. And we have all kinds of fun things that we can do. And I want to introduce you to my amazing team leaders. Right here we have Rena Appel-Shainholtz, who has been working with me for about 10 years. Actually, both my supervisors, we've been working together for 10 years, but she's been a Staten Islander for the last 32 years. She's been working in geriatric arena since 1990, both on and off Staten Island. She was the senior adult director at the JCC of Staten Island and later a program director at a community center in Brooklyn when she went back to school to become a clinical social worker, and we're really glad. She graduated from Wurzweiler School of Social Work in 2004 and has been working for Ohel for the last decade, as well as a general clinician for people of all ages. She also has a private practice for those who might want to know. She has a wealth of knowledge and experience in working with senior adults, and she's excited to be part of the Project HEAL, this innovative grant initiative where she is supervisor, and she covers Staten Island and half of Brooklyn. And welcome.
Thank you.
It's so good to have you.
Thank you so much.
We're well represented in Staten
here.
Island.
Yeah, this is great.
And all the way in the corner over there is Esti Murati, also a social worker for a few years. She has over 15 years of working with older adults and with adult mental health and aging issues. She has presented on topics of aging and mental health at several conferences, including the Geriatric Mental Health Alliance and the State Society for Aging. She has contributed to a presentation on physician and social workers' collaboration in the care of Holocaust survivors at the Internet IMA World Fellowship Centennial Anniversary, and she is a clinical supervisor in our home-based program, and really someone that I know I can count on to give anyone great service.
Welcome. It's great to have you on the show. I want to say that I met this team at an organizational meeting called Senior Umbrella Network of Brooklyn, affectionately known as SUNB. And Senior Umbrella Network of Brooklyn is also expanding out into Staten Island at some point in the near future. But it's open to Staten Island members and, in fact, all 5 boroughs. Anyone who's in the industry of caring for seniors can attend the breakfast meetings, sunb.org. Check it out, and maybe you'd like to join so you can meet other professionals such as these people who can network with you and share ideas and resources about helping seniors. So, Harriet, how would you like to start the show today?
So, first, I want to just give a little introduction about Ohel Children's Home and Family Services. It's a long name.
What does it mean?
And so we are going to call it from now on Ohel, short and sweet. And Ohel is the Hebrew word for tent. And I like to say that we started about 48 years ago as a foster care agency to help children who needed help, that they needed to have a place that would be culturally sensitive for them. And from there, we developed all sorts of programs such as adult mental health services, developmental disability services. We have domestic violence programs. We have community mental health services. We also have housing for people who might have severe mental illness. But I like to say, because older adults was always my specialty, that if we're going to take care of children, we have to take care of adults. Older people are part of the family. And the good part about being Ohel is that we have access points just like Abraham's tent, on all four sides. So we don't know which way we're going to enter, but we know that you're going to enter somehow, and there will be something. And again, we've been, even people don't realize, we've been around for so long. We've even been here on Staten Island, where we have foster care families. We were here after Sandy. We have nursing home waiver transition programs, as well as Medicaid income pool trust. So we're here to serve you. And one of the things we started about 10 years ago was a program where we had social workers placed in doctors' offices, because let's get real, that's where seniors often go. So the idea was seniors who might be feeling depressed, anxious, might not want to go to a mental health clinic. They might not feel that they could talk about those things there. So we said, let's be in doctors' offices, and we'll see the seniors exactly where they are. And I'm really grateful to say that Staten Island, as well as Brooklyn, was our targeted spots, and we've been here for 10 years seeing people. And from there, we were so successful, I have to say, that the Department of Health recognized the need to develop other kinds of mental health programs for senior adults in the 5 boroughs. And we are one of 4 agencies that have a pretty large grant where we are providing evidence-based programming to seniors at their home at no cost.
No cost, wait a second. You're telling me that anybody in Staten Island, for instance, who's watching this, or one of the other boroughs, who has a senior loved
Over
one,
65.
over 65, so good, I'm not there yet, so who they fear may be going through depression, can call your organization and have someone come out to see them for free, and they don't have to be on Medicaid?
Absolutely not. There's no charge. And even if somebody, which we're going to explain more, my lovely colleagues are going to explain, even if they're being seen with a mental health program and they have some sort of services, they can still see us, because there's something unique that we have to offer to give those kinds of coping skills for seniors. And again, no charge, not
can't get
double
over this.
dipping, and it's there for the taking. And we have staff that can speak all languages. And
Russian as well, we have a lot of Russian. on Staten
Russian,
Island.
Spanish, Creole, Chinese.
Wow.
We're really trying to be there.
Yiddish.
Again, Yiddish, Hebrew. Again, if I have enough call, we'll try to figure something out. So again, I just want to turn it over to my colleagues to kind of explain more, but we've been there before, we want to be there now, and we want to continue being there for years to come.
And we want the audience to know that you're here, so thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
This is really something. My mother-in-law was in a nursing home for the last year and a half of her life, and up until that point, she and my father-in-law had gone through the different rehabs and et cetera, et cetera. So I've gotten to have a real respect for organizations like yours that treat the emotional state of seniors, as well as all the other things you do.
And just before, because again, this is going to be more and more important in the next decades and even the next years, as we really talk about how are we integrating physical health as well as psychological or emotional health. You cannot have one without the other. It's truly an integrative balance, and that's what we hope to achieve.
Tell us, Rena, this is exciting.
Okay, well, because we did such a great job in the doctor's offices, the Department of Health then granted us this amazing opportunity for 3 years to go into seniors' homes and help them with feelings of sadness, isolation, being overwhelmed. It's absolutely free of charge. We do not bill insurance companies. We do not bill the clients. We can provide up to, between 6 and 8 clinical sessions, and it's based on a cognitive behavioral therapy model. We get them to change the way they've been thinking. We teach them problem-solving skills. And while doing that, we also encourage pleasant social and physical activities. So it's a beautiful program that the University of Washington created, and Department of Health and Public Health Solutions gave us this incredible, innovative opportunity, and we are taking a very creative approach.
So you spoke about those different methods that you use. Can you elaborate? Or is that later in the show?
We're going to talk about that a little bit later. I
Okay.
just wanted to talk about, depression a little bit
Okay.
first,
All
because
right.
I know that this is kind of the theme of the show.
All right.
People think that as you age, you have to be depressed. And, as we age, there are normal things that happen, right? Our skin gets thinner, our hair gets grayer, we get a few wrinkles, our eyesight dims a bit. The body doesn't work as well as it used to. But that's all normal. right? We deal with it. We go with it. We roll with it. What's not normal are feelings of depression, when it affects your sleeping, and it affects your eating, and it affects your ability to function. And it's absolutely devastating. There are, it has physical manifestations. People think that they're actually ill when they're actually depressed. I had a client who thought that, she had MS for 14 years.
She thought or she did?
She thought she had MS for 14 years, and she was getting daily injections for it.
Oh my
And
goodness.
once she was referred to us, I happened to have been one of those social workers in a doctor's office, in a neurology office, and we both came up with the idea that, this was probably clinical depression that she was, dealing with, and thanks to this great opportunity, we were able to get her referred to a wonderful psychiatrist who got her the right medication.
Oh my gosh.
And it was found out that she was not sick.
Not MS. I mean,
Not
that's a
MS.
serious fix you did.
So
Wow.
that was amazing. So what causes depression? Life is difficult sometimes, whether it's loss of a loved one, having to move, losing a job, losing a child, illness. There are a lot of factors that contribute to depression. And when we ask our clients what depression looks like and what depression feels like, they say things like, it's like seeing everything is gray, not processing properly, not hearing properly. They feel like they're walking in quicksand and weighed down by the difficulties of life. They have no motivation. They're not interested in doing anything. They feel sad every single day. They have regrets about everything in life, and they're not motivated.
Now, do you have medical doctors in case people need medicine?
We
that you
have
recommend?
a geriatric psychiatrist on staff. He's amazing. He weighs in on all of our team meetings, and he can visit our clients where clinically indicated. He cannot prescribe medication,
He cannot.
but he certainly is in touch with a patient's doctor.
Okay. So if indeed they need it.
Right, so just to understand that he is a board-certified geriatric psychiatrist who will talk to everyone's physician, and part of the program is to make sure that a person that we're seeing with mental health issues is connected to their own doctor. And just as a little Ohel plug for what's coming, we are opening up a medical clinic as part of what we're going to do in our new building that is coming in Brooklyn. So we are hoping to, again, that integration, but we do make sure that all our clients, if they don't have a doctor, we do help to refer them to appropriate medical doctors where they live.
And who refers you to most clients?
Well, before we get into that, I think I would like to talk about how, keeping in mind this is a short-term treatment program, so
Okay.
it's really important for us to be able to connect our patients to, doctors or psychiatrists or whoever they need to go to, case managers to follow up with, because we are a short-term program. This program, I'm just going to talk about it a little now, because I
Great.
think
Yeah, we need to
it's
know
good
more.
to know what we're actually doing. So this is the PEARLS treatment method that's been developed out of the University of Washington, and what we're doing is we're using a variation of cognitive behavioral therapy to help people with their problems that they're going through and with their feelings of sadness and feelings of depression. And what we're doing is we're really trying to teach them a different way of thinking about their problems and helping them to strategize and to think of different techniques and tools that they can use to help deal with their day-to-day problems. And so each session that we have, and there's 6 to 8 sessions, maximum 8 sessions, we work on different problem each session, and it's a very solution-focused therapy that we're using, very specific model that we're using, and we also try to encourage activity in daily lives, because research has shown that if you are active with pleasant social and physical activities, then you will feel better and your depression will abate. So that's why we are really encouraged again to we're not doing any kind of case management, we're not doing any kind of medical treatment per se, we're doing treatment for the depression, and then we want to follow through with those patients who need more. We'll follow through with other referrals.
So it's sort of like a short-term intervention?
Correct.
To set them on the right path.
Correct, to give them their tools, which is why also you can sometimes have more than one therapy going on at the same time. But I want to address, because you did ask, how do we get our referrals? Well, one way is by television show like this,
Yes.
where people will know about us and hopefully call. We want to have your calls. We want to see the people we're supposed to see, but we go to health fairs. We go to doctor's offices. We've been written in papers. We speak to other social workers. We go to family members. Basically, anybody and anywhere. Even you go to the bank, you go to the pharmacist, you go to the food store, anybody who knows a senior and might say, I'm concerned about how so-and-so's doing. And again, depression is insidious. It comes up upon us, and we sometimes don't recognize it, but we can get our referrals pretty much from anyone. The rabbi, the clergyman, whoever, your friend,
Excellent.
anybody.
Excellent. So you hear this, viewers. They want you to refer people to them. They're not overburdened right now with clients.
Even if we are, it's my job to figure out how to solve that.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
that's
keep
a
the
good problem, I
referrals
suppose.
coming.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say I notice a neighbor who used to be out in her garden a lot, and lately I don't see her out much, and I'm getting a sense she's starting to isolate. How could I approach her to say, some people might want to come and talk to you, and what would be, let's say she doesn't have a younger child that I can relate the story to, or anybody else. I'm the only one who's next door that sees there's a change in her. She seems a little lethargic. She hasn't been out much. What should I do?
Well, I mean, if it's somebody that you know, obviously,
Yeah.
have a relationship with,
Yeah.
so you can ask them how they're feeling, and if they tell you that they're feeling sad or they don't feel motivated to do things, you can say, well, I know, this social worker who maybe could come and help you, or this counselor, whatever word you think they would prefer to use, or a friend even, but initially just to get our foot in the door, and then we can really explain to them what we're offering. Because there's not a large commitment on their part, it is a short-term program. Many people like this idea. It's a different way of thinking about depression, and we're really, again, trying to motivate them. They don't have to be clinically diagnosed with depression. It just could be somebody who's just feeling sad and not doing things like they used to. And then, you could say, I have somebody who maybe can help you work through some of the problems that you're going through, or issues, or little things, whatever words, again, that you like to use. And they can help you in 6 short sessions.
Well, I think it was your group when you spoke. Did you talk about at Sunby, did you tell us a story where somebody said they were depressed, they can't go here anymore in the nursing home? They're actually in a
Right.
nursing home, they can't do this, can't do that. And then you went on and actually said, well, can you at least wheel your wheelchair over to that table to get the book you want? I mean, I'm paraphrasing. Does it sound, is that the
Yes,
story?
actually, that was a story. That was a client that I had seen at home.
Can you
actually.
share that story?
Yes.
I found it was wonderful.
Yes. So just to clarify, we do see patients in their home or in communities. In their communities, it could be, anywhere, in the doctor's office, in the library, wherever
Dunkin'
they feel
Donuts.
comfortable. But we actually do not go into nursing homes.
Oh, okay. But wherever this was.
But this is a client that I had seen in his home, and he was wheelchair bound and very depressed. And his one of the things that he mentioned to me was that actually every time he was mentioning that he can't do anything like he used to. He can't do this and he can't do that. Everything he cannot do. So I was trying to encourage him to think about, well, what can you do?
Yes, that's what I remember.
And
What
so,
can you do?
and that's the really focus of our program, trying to think differently about what you're going through. So, one thing that he had mentioned was because he's wheelchair bound, he was really confined to a very small space in his apartment, the kitchen and his bedroom and the little hallway. And then, if he wanted to go to the living room, there were 2 stairs down into the living room, and he did not, he hadn't been there in years. He said, I can't go there because I'm in a wheelchair and I can't go down. So then I asked him, well, can you really not go down? As sort of is it reality based? And he said, well, I never tried to. I guess I could, with the help of my aide, go down those 2 stairs. And I encouraged him to try it, until the next time I came. And he did. He said that the following session I came, and he said that he went into the living room and he enjoyed a birthday cake with his mother. His mother had a birthday.
Oh, that's a great
So
story.
That was nice, yeah.
So
So that's
the
just an
whole-
example of the wonderful work that our team does.
So cognitive therapy, we call this, actually deals with getting people to think a little differently,
Correct.
so that their actions can follow and they can get out of this depressed feeling that they're in.
And one of the
perhaps.
nice things, I think, is that when we do these problem worksheets with our clients, we let them keep these worksheets, so that when we're not here, they have something to look at, something to say.
To remember.
I remember that I should try step A, B, or C, and that even though Rena's only here for 6 to 8 sessions, Rena's always with me. There's like a little Rena on my side. And that really can help someone when, again, when you're feeling overwhelmed or you're trying to do something and saying, I don't remember what to do. It's like a cheat sheet. And that's very helpful for clients.
But I think more importantly, it's also a way to empower them and for them to learn how to do this on their own. I mean, you know, Rena or I, who are the other therapists that we have, and we'd like to talk about our wonderful team too.
Our team is
they come in,
fantastic.
they're really teaching the client how to think differently about their problem, and utilizing this method and leaving the papers with them just shows them what work they've done and how they can do it again in the future when the therapist is not there.
I love it. I love being able to give people tools that help increase the joy in life.
Our bilingual social worker, Cynthia, our Spanish speaker, who unfortunately is leaving the program, she's moving on to a better location with her family. We will miss her. She just finished a 6th session yesterday with a client, and the client sent a beautiful, beautiful thank you note. And I just wanted to read it.
Oh, let's hear it.
Dear Rena Ray Pearl's program, I wish to thank your organization for sending Cynthia. She's been so helpful in helping me with my depression. She has so much knowledge and a compassionate spirit. She's gentle and kind, and you have a wonderful social worker here. She also has patience and a great smile. It all goes together. We both speak 2 languages. God bless you. You know, and in the bottom, you know, this is the day the Lord made. We will rejoice and be glad in
Oh,
it.
I love that verse, and there's a heart on there.
Exactly.
Oh, boy, that's
And
rewarding.
she said the program helped her to think of solutions for her issues, and without getting too overwhelmed or to blame herself, which is what she did if something didn't go right. And now she's involved in a senior center, she's involved in her church again, she's doing some volunteering, she's a clown and does puppet shows for foster care
wow.
children. Now, all that in 6 sessions, that's not just short-term therapy, it's not just a short-term intervention, it's life-changing.
Oh, I love it. Oh, I'm
So
so
we
glad
have-
you're here talking to the viewers. This is so important.
I'd like to share a case.
Yeah.
Actually, one of our staff, her name is Rachel, and she sees a lot of seniors in a assisted living program in Queens. And a couple of her clients are Holocaust survivors. And what many of them have told her is that they feel the sense of loss of who they are. You know, as Holocaust survivors, they, you know, went through a huge ordeal, and they, you know, they survived, and they helped other people survive, and they had meaning in their life in that way. And then now, as they're getting older, they feel like they've lost their sense of self. And so she's helped them work through some of those feelings, and also encourage them to either, you know, if they want to transmit their stories so that, you know, to family members or community members, and or find other meaningful activities that they can engage in, whether it's a class or you know, a new hobby, something else that they can feel like they're contributing to. And that, I think, for many seniors, doesn't have to be a Holocaust survivor,
Yes.
obviously, because there's always the sense of loss as you get older. You know, you're not maybe working, or you've lost family members, and so just finding a different way of thinking about yourself and who you are, it's really life transforming.
It's wonderful.
Thanks for sharing that story.
We have lots of stories.
We have
I have
lots
a
of
lot of great stories. I have a great story. You know, end-of-life issues are very hard to deal with, and it's a very sensitive and difficult time. We have an amazing, amazing client. Her name was Lucille, and Lucille was, because of chemo and because she was in end-life stages, was no longer able to walk. She was married for 69 years to Jerry. And when I came to visit her, she was very broken and in pain a lot. And she had, you know, we don't know how long, you know, we have to live, but we knew it was close to the end. And I tried to see who she was. And I said, Lucille, you have a lot of cookbooks here. You know, what did you like to do when you were younger? She goes, my baking was my favorite.
Oh.
And she was a math teacher for many, many years as well. And they were married, yeah, like I said, 69 years. And I said, well, maybe you want to bake one more cake. Maybe you want to bake a cake with me. She goes, bake a cake? I can't bake a cake, but I would love to bake a cake. So we picked out a recipe. We talked about it. I said, next week I'm coming back. You're going to bake a cake.
I can't.
And we actually, I pre-mixed the ingredients at home. Well, but you're looking as Lucille, I laid out a sheet on her hospice bed. I brought all the pre-mixed ingredients and the mixing bowl and the mixer and the eggs and everything you would need to bake a cake with her. to her, and she couldn't believe it. She got very excited. She was whipping the egg whites into the batter, and her husband was saying, "Lucille, you're not doing it right." And she said, "Jerry, shut up. Do I tell you how to fix the car?" And you know what? She was back in her kitchen for that hour of time that she had. She forgot her pain. She forgot she was sick. She was baking a cake for her husband.
Oh,
So while the cake baked, we were able to deal with end-of-life issues. She was able to sign some, advance directives, and she had a great cake to have for the Sabbath that she gave out. She shared with her neighbors, and really, we saw her through a difficult time.
What a touching story.
Went into hospice with her. Unfortunately, attended her funeral, but we gave her a beautiful end, and that's her and her husband. A lovely, lovely, lovely couple.
I think that what this really shows us is that when we work with older adults, we see that there can still be meaningful activities. We help them kind of tap into their own inner strengths, their own resources. Many years ago, I heard from somebody who said, "You didn't get to be old by being a weakling or not being strong. You became old because you are strong, because you can take care of yourself." And we help to remind them that you have it in you. We just need to help bring it out and bring it out to family members who sometimes forget that under that gray hair or under some of those wrinkles is a really amazing person and has still what to give and share.
Oh, what a beautiful organization this is. I love you guys. This is so great. I love that you do so much in a short period of time. You know, when I grew up with and there's probably still a need for it, psychoanalysts. What's that word?
Psychoanalytic theories.
Yes, thank you. Which, people that I knew would go into therapy for 25 years to get to the root cause and this and that. And I'm sure there's a place for that. But I like that you have a tangible tool and procedure or process that works to relieve pain and suffering, and it brings joy to people. So what could be better?
And that's actually what a lot of people have said to us, and why a lot of people like our program. A lot of the seniors are not as intimidated by our program because we're not, a psychoanalyst coming in and telling
Right.
you to tell us your whole life story and how you turned out the way you did. We're really a very here and now
Here and
focused
now.
kind of therapy, and practical, and that's why people really like the program. I wanted to illustrate it with another story. So there was this elderly, also Holocaust survivor, actually, that Bracha has been seeing. And she was telling Bracha how she feels like one of the problems that she has is that she feels like her family will remember her as this old, decrepit, depressed lady, and not the person that she was, which was a very vibrant, helpful person in the community. And so Bracha got her to think about, well, what does she still have control over? And she said, well, I could talk. I guess I could talk still. And she said, well, what about smiling? Maybe you could smile. And when your daughter comes in, you can smile to her and she'll feel better. And she did that, and it changed the world for her daughter, especially the daughter contacted Bracha and said, my mother is smiling again. And
Oh, you're going to make me cry. Oh, my
yeah,
goodness.
so it's like, and the thing is, small changes could really be big changes, and that's what our program does.
I love that. That's a perfect illustration to close with. Any closing thoughts?
And just to say that we're really out there to help you. There are a lot of things that people don't even know that they're aware of, that there are a lot of things out there that people can have, that people can utilize, that can make their lives better, whether they're young, middle-aged, or old. And though, yes, we're not doing psychoanalysis, we all are licensed and trained therapists, so we know where the place should be, but we know what we have, and we know we have a great product.
Terrific. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And we hope you
Thank
come
you
on
for
again.
having
Maybe
us.
we'll do a part
We
two.
have more stories.
We have a lot of stories.
I want to hear them all.
And a lot of successes.
That's the whole key here. So it's called Ohel. The information is on the screen. Thank you, viewers, for watching. We're on every Tuesday night in Staten Island at 8 p.m. on Channel 34. We also air in the other boroughs, and you can find the Heart of New York show on YouTube. And hopefully you'll find this show on Ohel's website as well. Thanks for watching.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thank you for having us.